Senator, how are you? How'd it go today?
Good.
Mainly focused on Social Security today? I just wanted to follow up.
Really working on solvency. Key is solvency.
And what about adequacy? Are you focusing on adequacy as well?
Sure, we have to take care of the less room society. I don't know where you get all this crap. Where do you get all the crap you come up with?
Well, I just wanted, that's what I wanted to ask you.
Let me give it to you before you ask.
Uh-huh.
We're trying to take care of the lesser people in society, like we always have in this country, and do that in a way without getting into all the flash words that you love to dig up, like cutting Social Security, which is bullshit. We're not cutting anything in there. We're not cutting anything.
Okay.
We're trying to make it solvent. It will go broke in the year 2037.
Well, what do you mean by broke? Do you mean that the surplus is going to go out and then it'll only be able to pay 75% of its benefits?
Me instead of babbling? In the year 2037, instead of getting 100% of your check, you're going to get about 75% of your check. If we touch nothing. So if you'd like that, fine. You'll be picking with the chickens yourself when you're 65. So we want to take care. We're not balancing the budget on the backs of senior citizens. That's bullshit. So you've got that one down. So as long as you got those two things down that you can't play with anymore, that we're not balancing the budget of the United States on the backs of poor old seniors, and we're not cutting anything, we're stabilizing the system.
Okay.
You go ahead and ask whatever.
Thank you for being so frank. But my question is, raising the retirement age is actually an across-the-board benefit cut.
There are 15 different options being discussed in here today.
Right. Okay.
And why nail one of them? I mean,
if
you'd like to get one, get the one that pisses your people off.
No, I was actually going, because Alice Rivlin was just on CNBC saying that was one of the favored methods.
There are 15 of them in there. All of them have to do with stabilizing the system, which we are told is insolvent. It's paying out more than it's taking in.
Right now?
Yes.
But what about the $180 billion in surplus that it brings in every year?
There is no surplus in there. It's a bunch of IOUs.
Okay, that's what I wanted to actually get at.
Listen, $2.5 trillion of IOUs, which have been used to build the interstate highway system and all the things people have enjoyed since it was set up.
2 wars, tax cuts for the wealthy.
Well, you pick your crap and I'll pick the real stuff. It was to do the highway system. It was to run America. And those are IOUs in there. Now, there's not enough coming in every month. You're paying in every month for me. I appreciate that. I really do.
Which is how the system was set up, right? It's actually set up so that the current generation funds the retirees.
When I was your age, there were 16 people paying into the system and 1 taking out. Today, there are 3 people paying into the system and 1 taking out.
But isn't that the good news?
There were 2 people paying it. What's good news about that?
Well, didn't they plan for that, which is why they actually have been...
Because they thought they retired. They thought you would die at 57. That's why they set the date at 65. If you can't get through this stuff, then why do you spread this crap? This thing was set up when life expectancy was 57 years. That's why they set 65 as the retirement date. Now the life expectancy is 78, whatever it is.
Right.
And so we have to adjust that and make it work for the future people like you in the United States.
But here's one question on that. But thanks again for being so frank. Life expectancy is not equally distributed across the income spectrum,
right?
True.
We know that.
The life expectancy gains is actually this 5.5 years difference between the wealthiest.
We talk about that.
Right. So
we talk about everything you know, but you know, if you just want to use flash words and run around. No
flash words. I really wanted to zero in on a few things, and you've hit most of them.
Then just use honesty.
I'm being honest. The worthless IOUs has been actually, that goes all the way back to 1936.
There are IOUs in there.
Backed by the full faith in government of the full faith and
you got it. Full faith and credit.
There we go.
That's absolutely true.
So they're bonds just like any other bond.
That's right.
And that the government has to pay back.
But they're not third people involved. It's the government and the government.
Well, except it's actually the government and the citizens, right? The government doesn't own the bonds. It's actually the government owing.
Let me just say it in a way so your fans will understand it, so you can go and be a hero. There's not enough in the system by the month to pay in to pay out what comes in. In other words, there is more going out than coming in. That happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. So what do? They go to that trust fund and say, we need the IOUs out of there. And they say, well, you can have them, but you got to pay for them. So you're taking a double hit on your own government. It makes no sense. The government goes and says, hey, here's that $2.5 trillion IOUs. Now we need some money out of that system because we haven't got enough to pay this month. And they say, great. So the government gets a double hit. What's the worth of that?
Well, that's what I'm wondering about.
If you do this,
Thanks so much, Senator.
I'd be glad to visit with you on that.
Yeah, definitely, because we obviously have a very different understanding of the system.
Are involved in one thing, not secrecy.
No, I understand that. It's just in my understanding from actually looking at in the 1983 commission, they actually started pre-funding the retirement of the baby boom by building up that huge surplus.
They never knew there was a baby boom in '83. That's just
But actually, they knew that there was going to be demographic issues when they set up Social Security, so they actually predicted...
They never dreamed that the life expectancy would go from 57 years of age to 78 or 75 or whatever. Who would dream that? No one. They just died. People worked. Social Security was never a retirement. It was set up to take care of poor guys in the Depression who lost their butts, who were digging ditches, and it was to give them 43% of their wages when they got out. That's what it was. It was never a retirement. It was an income supplement.
Right. Well, it's actually an income insurance, right? It's a wage insurance program to replace lost wages due to death, disability, or old age, which was actually, but it's the reason it's definitely an insurance program, meaning that the people own the insurance, right? They're giving money in expectation that it's their money to come out, right?
And
so that's why I was
going to get their money, but right now, to get their money, which has all been used, and it consists of treasury bills, and the government has to go to get it out of there and pay it and say, here's some money for you so that you don't diminish the $2.5 trillion bucks, but you've got your government putting up money which increases the deficit to get this money out to go to the beneficiary. We got to make it work.
But that's not Social Security that's increasing the deficit, because it's still bringing in more money than it goes out.
The government of the United States has to take separate money out of some stack to get the IOUs out of Social Security. That's a double hit. And that increases the deficit. I mean, just have to believe me.
Yeah. But what I'm telling you is that Social Security is separate, though, from the general budget, right? So Social Security...
we don't even count it as...
It's totally in the green. It's actually bringing...
It wasn't. It just 4 weeks ago, there wasn't as much coming in as went out.
Except you're not calculating the interest paid on the bonds, because if you do include that, it's still in the green this year.
And you can go through all the sophistry of babbling that you want to.
It's not sophistry. It's just what the SSA says, so I'm just going on the numbers.
You need to read the report of the Social Security Administration, the one that was given to us. Have you got that copy?
So, I'd love a copy of what you're seeing.
I'll get you that.
MoveOn.org political action is responsible for the content of this advertisement.